Since that first paying well established Dammam as a major oil field and Saudi Arabia as an oil country, other fields have been discovered. Production has risen until in 1947 it reached close to 19 million barrels from less than 4 million in 1939. In the prolific Abcake field, production by the end of 1947 was averaging about 200,000 barrels a day. The expanding program requires an increase of permanent personnel to a total of more than 2,500 Americans and 15,000 Arabs. Such is the story of the oil itself. But there is another story, the story of people. For all the time the oil job was being done, there was the problem of making life more livable. For in spite of heat and flies and hardship and monotony, these men had come, and they had vowed they would stay, and they set about to make good their vow. Halfway around the world, the company had brought everything from food and housing to drilling equipment. It brought in American technology and skilled craftsmanship. Men planned and worked, and cleared and dug, and slowly, painfully, they reared a modern community on the desert beside the Persian Gulf. Here in Dhahran, irrigation has wrought its magic, tapping the desert and bringing forth trees and grass and flowers. These houses and the offices are completely equipped and air-conditioned. Hot though Saudi Arabia may be in summer, it's a healthy climate, and children thrive on it. They go to school as they would in America. Just about as they would back in their own hometowns, Paul Strong and his friends visit in the cool comfort of their modern homes at Dhahran. Unmarried girls who have come to Arabia as secretaries, stenographers, and clerks find companionship and recreation in the club rooms and dormitories. Always popular with the employees is the freshwater swimming pool, where they can cool off after a round of golf or a set of tennis. In the best tradition of medicine is this modern American hospital, providing free medical and surgical care to all employees. The company retains skilled American physicians and surgeons. Desert heat is no problem to workers in this new air-conditioned office building. There's an airport only about 40 hours by air from New York, by company plane or commercial airline. Out of every $2 invested in the concession, $1 goes into housing and other service facilities necessary to take care of employees, Americans and Saudi Arabs. The company has never forgotten that it is a guest in the land of the Saudi Arabs, and that the best interests of its hosts must at all times be served. Today, more than 12,000 Arab workers are employed by the company, and their number is increasing steadily. They worship in their mosques, such as this one at Dhahran, built by the government. Until quite recently, the Arabs had little or no opportunity for recreation and sports. Now they delight in learning new games. In the producing fields, Arab workers have become skilled craftsmen and work side by side with American drillers. In fact, the company's operations have become one of the great centers for vocational and industrial training in the Middle East. In the refinery, too, Saudi Arabs who a few years ago knew only the life of the desert now skillfully operate complicated oil refining equipment. American engineers have trained their Arab co-workers well, and the Arabs have been good pupils. Workers with aptitude are quickly trained to handle laboratory routine. Every shipment of product or crude is tested. It must meet rigid specifications. The quality is controlled as carefully as in refineries in the United States. More than 200 Arabs have been with the company 10 years or longer. The wages paid by the oil company provide new purchasing power for workers and their families, and a new prosperity for the region. They are paid in riyals, the currency of Saudi Arabia. These riyals are bought by the company from the Saudi Arab government, and this in turn makes available supplies of dollar exchange. In cooperation with the Saudi Arab government, the company provides schools for employees. Arab youngsters have expressed great appreciation of the educational opportunities given them and their classmates. The men who are working for the economic recovery of Europe see Middle Eastern oil helping them in their labors, day in and day out. Because, on the one hand, it is keyed perfectly to the goal of self-support for the nations of the world. And on the other, it is making available the vast volumes of petroleum needed to fuel the job of rebuilding the war-scarred Eastern Hemisphere. To the American citizen in Boston or Jacksonville, Sioux City or Seattle, all of this has real importance in his day-to-day life. Because, at present, large volumes of oil are moving from the Western Hemisphere, mostly South America, to fill the growing needs of Europe. While other South American oil goes to the United States. Shipments to Europe from the Middle East have increased since the war ended, but are still only a small part of what can come from there. Shipping oil to Europe from the Western Hemisphere is not only uneconomic, but puts a drain on resources we may need over here. However, this situation is changing. As soon as Eastern Hemisphere facilities are ready, heavy shipments from Western Hemisphere reserves can be stopped. The Middle East can easily supply all of Europe's requirements. The oil of South America can be used for the job of industrializing our neighboring lands to the south and to supplement the supplies here in the United States. Now that the risks have been taken, now that the pioneering has been done, the way is open for other American companies to come into the Middle East and join in developing its great resources for the benefit of its people and of the world. A guiding principle in Aramco's venture has been the belief that foreign capital cannot justify its presence in any land unless it operates in the interest of that land. Fully vindicating that principle has been the mutual trust and goodwill that have grown up between the American oilmen and the Saudi Arab government. Thus, American venture capital is developing new standards of life in an ancient realm, where a people with a glorious past are now building a glowing future with their partners from the other side of the world. East and West are united in pioneering a new frontier of progress, serving the interest of the Saudi Arabs, serving the interest of the United States, and demonstrating the vitality of the American system of free enterprise. A system which, from this new frontier, is pumping into the trade of the world oil, one of the materials that is making a truly great contribution to our modern civilization.